Hello there PD Army. The day has just started. Pardon my excitement because I think I've eaten a few butterflies. I am here in Shimla to have a go at the mighty Himalayan, and I'm gonna go on an adventurous trail really soon. But we have been cautioned to take it easy because weather reports have come in and they have said that we're gonna be hit by a thunderstorm, hailstorm later in the day. Let's see how that turns out. Alright, so when you swing your leg over this saddle, the first thing that you'll notice is this new instrument console, which is part digital, part analog. Another sweet subtle touch that Royal Enfield have added is this compass that you see here. However, you would be reminded that this is a motorcycle when you see the trip meter, the side stand indicator, an ambient temperature reading, and even has a service reminder. Alright, next up on the list we have this non-adjustable windshield. Although it has provided great wind resistance, but there still is a decent amount of buffeting. But then again, I am a tall rider, and if you look at the average Indian height, then I think this is going to be a pretty neat one. The torque curve is pretty much so, keeping the brief in mind. 32 Newton meters of torque spread across the rev range, better than I spread Nutella on my breakfast. And I'm going to eliminate a big worry right now by telling you that this by far is Royal Enfield with the minimum vibes, although it has vibes when you climb the higher rev range. But on the flip side, this is the smoothest Royal Enfield we have seen so far. The revised new chassis cradles this motor well, and when you talk about the motor, this is the first time we're seeing an oil-cooled engine in the Royal Enfield catalogue. And with the secondary balancer shaft, it seems like a job well done. Also with the oil cooler, Royal Enfield have managed to keep the engine heating to a minimum, and efficient heat dissipation have prevented my legs from getting tandoored. A lot of us would have wished to see the FI version on this, but here's the thing. You can probably pick up a screwdriver and fine-tune the carburetor instead of needing a laptop. Right now the fueling on this one seems pretty crisp, and the throttle response also is really nice. The Himalayan gets a monoshock, another first in the catalogue, and it pampers you even on your worst day. The front, on the other hand, has a travel of up to 200 mm and takes in the rough bumps pretty easily. And despite all that travel, the seat height is the same as the Continental GT. Non-intimidating, alright? When you talk about comfort on the Himalayan, it gets a soft split seat for starters. But looking at the conditions around me and the road that I'm traveling on, what you really want to be doing is this. Stand up, lock your knees in this perfectly carved crevice on the tank, and with the help of these flat foot pegs, you would just want to keep the wheels rolling. Plus, with this tall handlebar on the Himalayan, in this position too, you'd feel at home. Now there's a ton of space here on the handlebar to install accessories like a GPS device. Also, when you talk about the list of accessories, Royal Enfield is going to offer jerry cans, panniers, and even this swanky suit that I'm wearing as a part of the Himalayan accessory package. Also, what is commendable is the tires that Royal Enfield is offering on the Himalayan, the dual purpose tires. With what I've ridden so far, they seem to be handling the slush and the muck and the rain pretty well. However, since these are spoked rims and hence have tube tires, another accessory on sale could have been the puncture repair kit. This does not get a projector, which it could have had from the Thunderbird, and secondly, for a bike of this stature, misses out on auxiliary lamps. Now the braking department is handled by Biber both at the front and at the rear. However, the front brake lacks initial bite and feel. Was really impressed with the rear brake. But Royal Enfield have gone on to claim that the front brake, the way it is, has been built on purpose. It is for people who are, when they're out on the terrain, they don't want people to latch on the brake immediately. That's going to make the front tire lock and it's going to result in a serious accident.
Coming to the locking part, we also see that the Himalayan does not get ABS. It would have been a definite addition, a very positive addition, even if it would have come as an option. The Himalayan also gets a 21-inch front wheel and a 17 at the rear. The 21-inch because when you're out there, when you're taking on obstacles, it's going to glide over it very easily. And the fatter rear tire is there to churn out the 32 Newton meters torque effortlessly. The tire that handles really well. But what I really want to know is how they handle in the city. Now the menace of the city is not the most sought after environment of the Himalayan. With a wheelbase of 1465 mm, swerving this around in the city is a task. And also the tires that it has, it is more inclined towards adventure riding and does not offer the best of traction in the city. But it is the lightest Royal Enfield at 182 kilograms and with that ground clearance of 220 mm. The Himalayan is not the most extreme of motorcycles and it doesn't need to be. With the focus on its purpose, this motorcycle builds up the wall of want pretty easily. It is unlike any other Royal Enfield that you've seen so far, and with a price of Rs 1.55 lakhs, it all comes to fruition when you think of why this does not get ABS or fuel injection. Kudos to Royal Enfield for making this side of two wheels more accessible. But from now on, things are set to get better in this segment. For a digital birdie whispered about an orange camp busy prepping up its adventure variant. I wish this would have continued for a bit longer, for a wise man once said, never stop exploring.